today. Far more interesting, says Darragh O'Toole, that Cian Kelleher is moving back to Leinster. That means Rob Kearney might be leaving, his brother might be retiring, or Ferguson McFadden might be retiring. A little bit of amateur detective work from Darragh O'Toole there ahead of the contractual situation with regards to those Leinster players being announced. I don't know if it means that I don't think you can draw cause and effect from the fact that Leinster are adding another player in terms of depth.
Well, you're just dreaming of Joey Carbery coming back to Leinster immediately. Everybody's coming home.
Well, there's a well-trodden path. You lend players out to the development provinces and then you get them back.
Oof! Wow!
That actually hurts.
Hell.
Really hurts being described as a development province.
Well, Rob Kearney's going to be away at a World Cup. Fergus McFadden will be hoping he's away at a World Cup. There'll be pretty much that entire Leinster backline will be away at a World Cup, which hopefully rules them out till next Christmas at the start of next season. You're going to want a bit of depth.
Yeah, and they haven't quite got the depth back. So Connacht are obviously disappointed that he isn't sticking around because he's found a bit of form for them. And I think Andy Friend was saying that you can't counter offer when it comes to Irish players. So a number is agreed somewhere along the way with an agent, with the player, and that's the number. Connacht can't then say, we'll give you an extra $5,000. So it's hard for Connacht when, especially if a player is from Dublin, do you want to come home and play for your home team? That's really what this is.
It is, but also you talk, obviously tongue-in-cheek, well maybe not about a development province in Munster, but there is a danger that...
100% tongue-in-cheek.
I know.
So my Twitter mentions don't explode again today.
The idea of a development province, I see, I think it is Andy Friend. It's actually right in front of me here. Connacht won't be a development province again, says Andy Friend.
Yeah, and they're not, and they shouldn't, and they clearly don't think of themselves that way, and everything in Irish rugby needs to prevent that from being the case.
Yeah, the idea now, though, is that Connacht have a coach who's clearly developing players into very, very good players, that there is always a temptation for young Leinster players to see themselves becoming a star at the RDS eventually, but at the age of 2021, going to somewhere like Connacht and coming back like Cian Kelleher is as a better player. And does that automatically make you a development province? Well, maybe not, because you're hard to set in Leinster maybe, and that's your boyhood club and that's who you want to play for. I just think that there is also the possibility at the moment as well, given the way Connacht have trended over the past couple of months, that they will be able to keep hold of a lot more of these players because he's a bloody good coach.
But a lot of what happens over the next 5 years will probably depend on, say, what happens with Cian Kelleher when he goes back, because this is obviously a personal choice. He's taking a big risk here.
Yeah.
He knows he can stay at Connacht for the next 2 or 3 seasons, play week in, week out.
And get better.
And put himself in the mix for an Ireland squad. He can go back to Leinster and, I'd say there should be opportunities at the start of next season. If Ireland were to exit the World Cup early, suddenly all these players are back. Suddenly you find yourself not in a panel for Champions Cup.
Yeah.
Or you don't deliver. Obviously Leinster want him, so he feels in a good position that he's not just going there to make up the numbers. But still, you can find yourself this time next year not in the 23 for Pro 14 games. That's the depth that's there. So there's a bit of a risk for him as well.
Yeah, there was a list of players who've come from Connacht to Leinster, and some of them have absolutely been sensational. So obviously Henshaw and Cronin are in that group, but Fionn Carr didn't make it when he came back.
He also mentions Jamie Hagan and Nick Carney here as well. So you talk about the other players, Mike McCarthy, Sean Cronin and Robbie Henshaw, going back to Dublin after becoming Ireland internationals.
Well, it'll be interesting to talk to some of those players about the mentality, because at Connacht, playing every week, being a key, crucial part of the squad, it must be a very good feeling for any player to know that your coach trusts you, that you're an integral part of, and you could probably make a mistake and you won't lose your position. Whereas you go to Leinster now, it's a very different mentality that if you don't deliver in your Pro 14 games, you're out. You've got to be on it every single week. And some players, that doesn't suit.
No. I can see a lot of people being annoyed about the fact that Leinster are signing players from other Irish teams. I think that when it's players who originally were in their academy, fair enough. I think the Henshaw thing probably will stick in the craw of Connacht players, Connacht fans forever.
Absolutely. As long as Bundyaki doesn't join them.
Yeah, I can't see that happening.
It's a good idea.
So the other one then was Liverpool. So we need to talk about Liverpool because, that game, the Leinster game is live this weekend on Saturday. Leinster against Toulouse is live on Off the Ball on Saturday. Ulster against Racing this Saturday evening, also live. It's an orgy of live football this weekend, live sport.
Yes.
That's exactly how it's described on the News Talk ad as well.
That's the promo. Join us for an orgy this weekend on Off the Ball.
I've stolen that line from Noel King. There was Back in the
Anyone has ever done such a thing.
back in the late 80s, early 90s, Shamrock Rovers announced a range of glamour friendlies, and he went, "It's an orgy of football this summer," and it's stuck with me ever since. And so anytime I get the opportunity to use it, and Noel King always pops into my head when it does.